First chapter of James and the Giant Peaches reviewing audiobook. And the book was written by Roald Dahl and read by James Ivey. After reading this book, I could figure out the story more better than before. So, reading and listening with the same book is very useful. The story's beginnings. 4-year-old boy James Henry Tortor and lived with his parents near the seaside. And the sea was right for him. He played along the beach and then he enjoyed water. But one day, when his parents and him he went to London, but the parents were eaten up by the enormous rhinoceros, which escaped from London Zoo. So, and James was left alone, and his house was sold, and he was sent to horrible two aunties named Sponge and Spiker. The ants lived on the top of the hillside, which surrounded by garden and but desert gardens. In the middle of gardens, there was the ancient peach trees, and James was not allowed to play with other children, and then he should walk all day long. And the house was because the house was top of the hills, and James could see far away. And when weather was good, and he could see the horizontals, and luckily he could see the ocean beyond the far horizon. And so James should walk, and when James chopped wood for winter, and Sponge and Spikers drank coffee. Sponge was short and fat and big eyes, and Spiker thin, bony. When she talked, spit out of her mouth. And they didn't call James his name, and just disgusting boy or something like a bad word. And then when James stopped working, and they yelled, don't stop working. And also, if James got a mistake or did something wrong, and he was sent to cell rooms for a week. It was a horrible life for young James. He spent 4 years. That means he became 8 years old boy. Chapter 2, audiobook. I am familiar with Jeremy I's voice. I think he led or narrated Wind in the Willow and the drama for the lad or more dispatchers. Kind of familiar when he um, led Spiker's dialogue. Anyway, James was punished or and then he ran away and then near the bush and he was cried and at the moment and there was he heard something comes out the bush and he looked back and there was an old man who had a bowl and small and black whiskey and in dark clothes. He leaned his cane and then he called and little boy come here. But James was afraid and he didn't move. But the old man stepped forward him and then whispered, I know who you are. And then the old man knew about James was, and then he gave special things, and then he talked to the high priest James from and help from miserable life and so and in the paper bag and there was the green small green something like jewels and the old man said and then it was made by the some of the special things from the animals and so he told when James ate this and then it happens and it digest in the stomach and then yeah something wonderful happened. So James took the paper bag it in his pocket and then the old man um, disappeared. James came back. He well, while on his way to the house, and he passing through the garden, but he fell down, and the treasures and paper bag out, and so small green marble and scattered. James tried to pick them up, but the small ones sinking into the soil, and he couldn't catch anything. So and he thought about something happens in the peach or the small insects, but and at the moment Spongy saw James and she yelled at James, "You should finish your work." And then, so when James went wood fires and he chopped wood more, and whilst he was working, and Spongy and Spikers talk about how they would punish James. At the moment, Spongy found peach on the peachy on the trees, and then Spiker didn't believe her, but and when she saw there was the peach and grow, they were surprised because the peach trees didn't have any fruit. So, and then the peach got closer and then bigger, and they called James to pick the peach up for eating. So James climbed up the trees, and then but they saw the peach got bigger and bigger. So Spiker suggested they could get money from the peaches, and so let James come down again. 3. I didn't focus on listening, but I could remember what stories are going on because I read the story before. And to Anton, James watches the peaches growing bigger and bigger. The peach became as big as a melon or balloon, and then still when growing. So the news was spread there, and the countryside. So many people wanted to see the big fish, giant fish. To enter, made a fence around the fish tree, and then they made a front desk. When the villagers came to watch giant fish, they sold a ticket for 1 shilling. For children, the half of shilling. And when James wanted to see hang out with the other children from villages, but the horrible ants didn't allow James to enjoy himself and with the children. So he was he was sent to the inside. It's locked, and many people watched the giant fishes. In the evening, it got dark, and two ants said to James, "Go out and clean outside with a banana peel or something, paper, tickets." So James cleaned, and then he approached them. But the giant fish and bigger and bigger, it come down. At last, it landed the ground. The giant fishes become as big as the house. James looked into the fish, and he wanted to try to juice. There was a hole, so when James came inside the holes closely, that was started the adventure. Quite imaginative story. 4. James went into the hole. It was tunnel. While crawling through the tunnel, he tasted fresh peach, and it was delicious. And then when he crawled forward, he banged. It was blocked, and he found a small door. He opened it, swung open, and he came inside. The welcome you were waiting for you, and then somebody told him. And then he saw the creatures. They were giant, big insects. All of them were bigger than James. The all green grasshoppers was as big as a big dog. They were sitting on the chair and sitting on the couch. Ladybug with the nice spots, shells, and big enormous spider, and earthworm, and centipede, and silkworm. And in the ceiling, under the ceiling, there was a glowworm, means firefly, actually without wings. So, Spider said to James, "I am hungry," and all said is that they were famished and starving. James was surprised that they tried to eat him, but they didn't have to, because there are plenty of pleasure fish. They said, "Don't to James, don't worry about we mean to eat you, and then we're gonna eat and the flesh of fish." At the moment, something happened. 5. Night in the Peachstone. After eating, it was time to bed. So when Centipede wanted to take shoes off, but his shoes are so many, more than 28 pairs. Centipede asked James to take them off. James helped Centipede to take them off. And Spider made a bed for night, and then she weaved the web in garment, and then she made some bed looks like a hammock, and she first and she made a bed for old green grasshopper. Green grasshoppers went in bed, and others same, and Spider made her for others. And last, James took all off, and they were in bed. But still it was light because glowworm lit under the ceiling. The Centipede complained about lightings. "Would you put it out?" And then Centipede said, and Glowworm said hello to James, and then put it out. So when got dark, and James greeted and good night, but he fell asleep soon. Starting journey off. Someone said, "It's off." OFF. And what? And the giant fish fell off to the ground. So, and it was about lower down, and they were all excited, and they were happy, and they thought they would rolling down rather than sticking to the fish trees then with the horrible antis. So they talk about and starting off, and scientific more excited about it. The journey began. 7. Journey to the ocean. James wanted to go to the beach, but he was not allowed to go there. And at last, the giant fish rolled down to the ocean. White cliffs, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 100 feet, which was famous in England. It was start rolling down, and aunt sponge and spikers to prepared for their fair, the giant fish fair, and then they excited to learn make money, and they came out, and also they talk about James who didn't come in whole night, and then they saw the giant fish roll down, and it was just too early for them. They were surprised, and they tried to run away, and they frantically moved past, but the giant fish covered them and crushed them, and there was silence. And two horrible antis became flat. They died. And the early mornings, the villagers came to giant fish, and they saw the giant fish rolling down. They were spread away. Even giant fish rolled down to the village, and they ran. The giant fish scared the herds, like cows, sheep, and pig, and the whole villages and was in chaos. And the giant fish crushed in the electric pole or something, and then ran down. Villagers went out. In the end, the giant fish crushed the building. It was the factory, chocolate factory. The giant fish made a big hole. The chocolate flowing down, and children liked chocolate, and they ate. And the giant fish didn't stop rolling down, and slowing down and near to the ocean. And in the end, the giant fish fell down into the ocean. It was smack and floating over. Inside there were chaos, and then James got blues, and they were quite difficult inside. They were settled down, and they tried to go out, and so they made a hole to the peachy stone upside, and they climbed up, and they made a hole the centipede first came up, and then others climb up to the sea. Unless they could see the sea. 8. A good breakfast. They were surprised to see the sea, and they were depressed because they were afraid of they were sunk or they could not swim. They thought the giant fish would be sunk, but it didn't. Wasn't. So when they were hungry and they started eating the flesh of fish, and it was fabulous and delicious taste. They enjoyed the flesh of fish. They helped themselves. And then they talk about journey or what they would do in the middle of the sea. 9. A shark attack and plan of escaping from the sea. And insects saw the black ones which was gliding the surface of the sea, and it closer. So and then look at it, what is it? And then James said, "It's a shark." Shark. They were afraid of all sharks, and then sharks gathered more and more, and then circled around the giant fish, and they thought about the shark, and then but they didn't have to afraid. They saw them. They were not afraid the shark. But when the shark started attacking and hitting the giant fishes, and besides the sharks became more and more. So many of sharks attacked, and then they were worried. Then Centipede asked James for help, and James got an idea. James asked strings and silkworm and spiders could give strings love, and they were strong. And so insect wondered what plan James had. James said he made seagulls carrying the giant fish like a balloon. And they were laughed at James, and then it couldn't be impossible. But James said he used bait as an earthworm. The earthworm didn't like the idea, but others cheered him up, and then in the end, then they tried to catch seagulls to tie the strings with their necks. 10. Voyage on the giant fish. They were flying. There's hundred seagulls carry the giant fish. They flew away, and the spider checked out how much the giant fish is damaged by the shark attack. So when the spiders to dangle down and check out, and then came up. While they were flying too, they were passing the sea, and there was ship, and the crew and captain was surprised to see the giant fish, and the captains looked up to the giant fish deck with a telescope. He was surprised that he found a small child and big insect. When he talked about he saw big insect like grasshopper, ladybug, and spider, and the first officer said he got itching, and so he needed doctors. 11. Grasshopper's concert. Grasshopper was started playing music. Um, he's playing. He's he used this leg on something line. It was like a violin. Um, uh, it looks like violin, playing violin. Um, so I have to listen in, and all the other insects clapped and shouting and yell encore. Um, and they enjoyed the Grasshopper's concert. 12. Insect story. Grasshopper played looked like violin. Also, I'm talking about what he did for farmers, and then also and made the soils and soft and spider. Talk about his life. He caught and mosquitoes and flies, something like that. Caught them and did a good work, but people didn't like spiders. He was complaining. And ladybugs. Ladybug also good for the farmers. They ate paste something. And then James asked us the ladybugs could change the spots, but ladybug said no, and the spots shows their families. And also centipede could sang a song, and what the centipede sang that kind of song. Old man made explain to James. So and maybe the old man's from the bush, and there's someone insect or something like spirit. Anyway, uh, it got dark, and then they flew far away over the oceans. In the end, they might reach to America. Audiobook part 13. The seagull flew over, hanging down the giant fish, and it was the first time the passengers in giant fish insect were at the sky. It was nighttime, and the full moon brightly and lit and brightly, and they saw moonlight. when they flew in a night sky, and it got cold, and hail started, hail fall down. So and insects were surprised to see hail. Earthworm said, "It's ridiculous. It's summertime here, and then hail is not impossible." Well, maybe the giant fishes traveled from hemisphere to hemisphere. I'm not sure that. They met hail, or they met also cloud man. Cloud man one the giant fish in bad weather, like a storm. So stumbled, and they were in trouble. And after long struggling, and the giant fish was stable because the windicorns and the cloud man stopped moving. Part 14. In the storm, the giant fish was sent on the mountain, and after storm stopped and the passengers, including Insect and James, came up, and they saw there was no cloud man inside, and they were up, and they were some of them were afraid of they were stuck the ocean. And Grasshopper saw that the giant fish is leaking. The juice also leaked out of the fish. So and earthworms afraid is this they were sunk, and but a centipede found the giant fishes was over the mountains. Soon, the clouds were slowly disappeared, and the rainbow came out. So they were surprised to see rainbow, and they were amazed. The rainbow hit the giant fish on the top of, so and the giant fish was separated, and it was kind of accident. The insect grabbed the strings, and they fell down. Many of clouds meant with many things, and they came, and the cloud man had two eyes, black eyes, and hairy, and no nose, no mouth, no ears. Quite interesting, and they had some things. When they climbed down, and centipedes were stuck to the rainbow paint, and he couldn't move. And James talked about his aunties who didn't move at all, so after painted and stuck on the ceiling, and then so all of the insects were afraid of centipede. They wanted to save centipede, and they thought of how to save the centipede. Now, one more thing, our listening tip, and surely while listening to the story and thinking about the moments, it's very important to more than that, just to comprehend what the story like, and the thinking practice in the story by listening to the audiobook or something. That is a really good point because we can remember what we thought. Thinking is a very beautiful function. Part 15. The dark cloud almost black and came up, and then it became drop rain, and all raining is more heavier, and then it looks like a waterfall. So, and the rain got wet, seagulls, strings, and giant fish, and all of them inside like insect and James Hallitrotter. Then so forward, and all green grasshoppers worried about his drowning. And a few minutes later, the water gone. But luckily, Centipede got off from the sticking paint. He was happy and then shouted. The earthworm teased him, but and he was free and he jumped and then the seagulls had flown over the cloud, and then the moonlit, and then they were flying again and in the air. So quite a long time, and after darkness, and they saw a new land where the skycraft and lots of buildings stood. They were already there, and then they have no ideas to where they were, and it seemed not England. It didn't seem England. So one of them said they were fly over the Atlantic Ocean all the night, and so but Grasshopper worried about how landed does Earth, and so Ladybug asked James, and if seagulls stopped flying. A few seagulls, some seagulls stopped flying, and they could land. The journey is going on. 16. So, in the end, this is New York. And in second dreams, on the giant Fiji, and voyages from England to America, New York. When giant Fiji appeared in the sky of New York, and the people thought it was giant bomb. What if the bombs had exploded? So when the story was reported to president, so who president was wearing pajamas and went to found Gordon General, and most of people were looked at a giant peach. This story a little bit Charlie Chocolate and Elevator. And Roald Dahl's ideas are a little bit similar. Anyway, so Centipede cut strings with his mouth and to rend. So and the giant fishes was down slowly, and Centipede cut one more. The giant fishes was down to New York and Manhattan. Down, and they looked the buildings, the tallest building, which had on top of the spear, big spear. So when the giant fish goes down to the spear, and it forked, it was forked in the middle of a giant pitch. The building was the Empire State Building. "17. After landing the top of the Empire State Building, the giant fish was a big attraction, and people and half of miles they were jammed to watch giant fishes, and they saw insect on the giant fish. The firefighters and forest officers came, 200, more 600 police officers. And firefighters captain said, looked after looking at the alive things, they must have come from Mars or other planet. When the seagulls or firefighters helped the giant fish to the shores, the beach, and then put them. And insect and James came out, and most people, including the firefighter and police officer, were surprised to see James. The firefighter said, "Are you a little boy?" He said yes. And they asked where they are from, and then they told them they are from England. Um, James introduced the insects one by one, and firefighters wondered they were not dangerous. James said no. The end of book 18. The firefighter and the others helped the giant fishes come down to the ground, and then they are welcome. The parade happened, and they got in the limousines, and for the giant fish, it was prepared. The truck was prepared, and the Speaker of New York City welcomed them, and then famous people got on 20 limousine as well. They were welcomed. Many people many people welcomed them, and looking down, looking from the building, and one of the children and who watched the parade asked James, "Can I try some peachy?" And then James, "Sure." So the children came, and they ate peach juice, fruit. They enjoyed. Many children came. The children followed as well. After parading, they were welcome. So insect and James lived in New York. Lonely James and then had many friends, and also the big insect got work. Scientific set up the Boots Company. Greengrass Hoppers worked for orchestra. Silkworms worked for Crodus Silk something, and worms become a executive or commercialist for women for cosmetics because he had a pink color. And Ladybug, not sure, and Glowworm became a torch, the Statue of Liberty, and he saved lots of electricity. And the giant peach stone was displayed in the Central Park, and the inside lived James. James to welcome children, the door always open. And children met James and other insects. When James met children, James talked about his long journey and adventures in the giant fish. So James started writing the story about himself with insects. That's it. This is James writing. That's good storyline.